Hello everyone, today we will open up one of the new 2019 Commander decks. I have been working my way up to the old stuff and now I'm doing the Commander decks. Starting with the Merciless Rage deck, Anje Valkenwrath. This is a Rakdos colored deck. The commander here is 3 mana for a 1/3 haste, and if you tap it, discard a card, draw a card. Whenever you discard a card, if it has madness, untap Anje Valkenwrath. Alright, as always with commander decks, we get 100 cards built around one of the 3 legendary foils in the deck. One of which is this one. It's also the oversized card. So, alright, let's take a look here. I totally forgot what's in here, so to me it's all a mystery as well. So we get one little booklet here with some information about Anje and the second commanders, Chainer, the Nightmare Adept, and Graven, Predator Captain. Nice. There they are. Oh, right. Kerik is also in the deck. Ooh, well, that's going to be interesting. All right. Get the booklet to the side. And let's take a look at what we have here. Obviously, the deck. So, where is the rippy thing? Here it is. So, yeah, obviously we get the commander in question, also at foil. And that's our very first card. So next up we have Chainer, the Nightmare Adept. For 4 we have a 3/2 creature. Discard a card, you may cast a creature card from your graveyard this turn. Then activate this ability only once each turn. And whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, if you didn't cast it from your hand, it gains haste until your next turn. Very nice. We only had an old Chainer from Torment, and it was just a mono-black creature that gave minions +1/+1. Right, and we have Graven, the Predator Captain. This is from the old story, from the Weatherlight story. It's a 5 mana creature, 5/5 menace, and it gets +X/+0, where X is the amount of life you've lost this turn. And whenever Graven attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, you draw cards equal to that creature's power, and you lose life equal to that creature's toughness. Okay, so these are the 3 commanders for the deck. Then we have a bunch of tokens. We have zombie tokens. Well, actually, they're all zombie tokens, and on the back we have an Obnixilis Reignited emblem. More zombies. Just 3 tokens in this deck. 3 different ones, at least. So we're only going over the rares and the cards that are exclusive to the deck. So, like this one, Mire in Misery. It's a 2 mana sorcery. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or enchantment. Ooh, that's very nice in black. Finally, a way to get rid of enchantments. Well, if your opponent has no creatures left. We have a Hate Mirage. For 4, it's a sorcery. It's red. Choose up to 2 target creatures you don't control. For each of those creatures, create a token that's a copy of that creature. Those tokens gain haste. Exile them at the end of the next end step. Then we have a Bloodthirsty Blade for 2. It's an equipment. Okay. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and is goaded. It attacks each combat if able and attacks a player other than you if able. That's pretty nice. And then for 1 you can attach it to target creature an opponent controls, only as a sorcery. Then we have Scaretiller, also exclusive. For 4 we have 1/4. And if it becomes tapped, choose 1. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped, or return target land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Right, then we have some old cards here. We have a Big Game Hunter. We have Call to the Netherworld, Dark Withering, Faith of the Devoted, Gorgon Recluse, Grave Scabbler, Scrabbler, Murderous Compulsion, Nightshade Assassin, Plaguecrafter, Sanitarium Skeleton, The Eldest Reborn, very nice, another saga, Zombie Infestation, Alchemist Greeting, Fiery Temper, Malevolent Whispers, Violent Eruption, Armillary Sphere, Hedron Archive, Meteor Golem, Rakdos Locket, Sol Ring, a Swamp at random, 2 swamps. Then we have an Archfiend of Spite, also exclusive to this deck. It's a 7 mana, 6/6 flying, and whenever a sorcerer an opponent controls deals damage to Archfiend of Spite, that sorcerer's controller deals damage Whenever a sorcerer an opponent controls deals damage to Archfiend of Spite, that sorcerer's controller loses that much life unless they sacrifice that many permanents. Alright, and Madness 5. That's what this deck is all about, madness. Then we have a Bone Miser for 5, it's a 4/4. Whenever you discard a creature card, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Whenever you discard a land card, add 2 black. And whenever you discard a non-creature, non-land card, draw a card. Curse of the Fool's Wisdom. For 6, we have an enchantment, an aura. It's enchant player. Whenever enchanted player draws a card, they lose 2 life and you gain 2 life, and that Madness 4. There we have him, Kerik, the son of Yawgmoth. For 7, it's a 2/2, and it has 3 Phyrexian black, so it can be paid either with black or 2 life. It has lifelink, and for each black in the cost, you may pay 2 life rather than pay that mana. And whenever you cast a black spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Kerik, son of Yawgmoth. Very cool card. Then we have Nightmare Unmaking for 5. It's a sorcery. Choose 1. Exile each creature with power greater than the number of cards in your hand. Or exile each creature with power less than the number of cards in your hand. Then we have Agnes Ravager for 3. It's a 3/3. And it attacks each combat if able. And whenever Agnes Ravager attacks, discard your hand, then draw 3 cards. And that Madness 2. Skyfire Phoenix, it's a 4 mana 3/3 flying haste, and when you cast your commander, return Skyfire Phoenix from your graveyard to the battlefield. Cool. That's a pretty sweet card. Wildfire Devils, it's a 4 mana 4/2. When it enters the battlefield at the beginning of your upkeep, choose a player at random. That player exiles an instant or sorcery card from their graveyard. Copy that card. You may cast a copy without paying its mana cost. And an Eon Engine, for 5 mana, it's an artifact, it enters the battlefield tapped, and if you tap it and you exile it, reverse the game's turn order. So, yeah, it's not like untap, upkeep, draw, no, it's like, if you are first and the player next to you then goes counterclockwise. And then we have Sanctum of Eternity as our land, rare. It taps for colorless, and then 2 and tap, return target commander you own from the battlefield to your hand. Oh, that's pretty cool. Activate it only during your turn. So that's a way to, get your commander back. We also have mythics here. We have a Boneyard Parlay. These are reprints. It's a 7 mana sorcery. Exile up to 5 target creature cards from graveyards. An opponent separates those cards into 2 piles. Put all cards from the pile of your choice onto the battlefield under your control, and the rest into their owner's graveyard. Then we have a Champion of Stray Souls for 6. It's a 4/4. Then if you pay 5 and you tap it, sacrifice X other creatures, return X target creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Or for 7, put Champion of Stray Souls on top of your library from your graveyard. So it's just a pest that you hardly get rid of. Then we have Geth, Lord of the Vault. For 6, it's a 5/5 Intimidate. And you can pay black and X, and then put target artifact or creature card with converted mana cost X from an opponent's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control tapped. Then that player puts the top X cards of their library into their graveyard. Then we have Merciless the Reignited. We already saw the emblem for him. It's a 5 mana Planeswalker with 5 loyalty. +1, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. -3, destroy target creature. And -8, target opponent gets an emblem with whenever a player draws a card, you lose 2 life. Then we have Soul of Innistrad. It's a 6 mana creature for 6/6 Death Touch. Then if you pay 5, you can return up to 3 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. Or you can pay 5 and exile Soul of Innistrad from your graveyard, and then return up to 3 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. Then we have a Grimoire of the Dead. It's an artifact for 4, and if you pay 1 and you tap it, discard a card. Put a study counter on Grimoire of the Dead. And if you tap it and you remove 3 of those counters and sacrifice it, put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control. They're black zombies in addition to their other colors and types. That's pretty nice. Pretty nice indeed. Asylum Visitor. For 2, we have a 3/1, Madness 2. And at the beginning of each player's upkeep, if that player has no cards in hand, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. That's not an exclusive card. Beacon of Unrest with new art. It's a 5 mana sorcery. Put target artifact or creature card from your graveyard onto the battlefield under your control, and then you shuffle this card back into your library. Doomed Necromancer. For 3, a 2/2. And if you pay 1 and you sacrifice him, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. From Under the Floorboards. A sorcery for 5 with Madness X and 2 black. Create 3 tapped 2/2 black zombie creature tokens and you gain 3 life. If this spell's Madness cost was paid, instead create X of those tokens and you gain X life. Hedonist's Trove for 7, an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, exile all cards from target opponent's graveyard. You may play land cards exiled with Hedonist's Trove. You may cast non-land cards exiled with Hedonist's Trove. You can't cast more than 1 spell this way each turn. Ingaruk's Wake. For 9 mana sorcery, destroy all creatures you don't control and all planeswalkers you don't control. Overseer of the Damned. For 7, a 5/5 flying. When it enters the battlefield, you may destroy target creature. Whenever a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token. Alright, Avacyn's Judgment for 2. It's a sorcery for 2. With Madness, 1 red and X. And it deals 2 damage divided as you choose among any number of targets. But if you pay the Madness cost, it deals X divided. Chaos Warp. Classic commander staple by now. For 3 an instant, the owner of target permanent shuffles it into their library, then reveals the top card of their library. If it's a permanent card, they put it onto the battlefield. Flayer of the Hatebound. For 6, a 4/2 undying. Whenever it or another creature enters the battlefield from your graveyard, that creature deals damage equal to its power to any target. Then we have Magus of the Wheel for 3, it's a 3/3, and if you pay 2 and you sacrifice it, each player discards their hand, then draws 7 cards. Squee Goblin Nabob for 3, a 1/1, and at the beginning of your upkeep you may return him from the graveyard to your hand. Stromkirk Oculist for 3, a 3/2 trample, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card, and it has Madness 2. Then we have a War Storm Surge for 6 an enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. Bloodhall Priest. There doesn't seem to be an end to all the rares. Oh my god. 6 more, I believe. Alright. Bloodhall Priest for 4. It's a 4/4. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, if you have no cards in hand, it deals 2 damage to any target. And Madness 3. Key to the City for 2. It's an artifact. If you tap it, discard a card. Up to 1 target creature can't be blocked this turn. And whenever Key to the City becomes untapped, you may pay 2. If you do, draw a card. Solemn Simulacrum with a new piece of art. That's very nice. For 4, it's a 2/2, and when it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. When it dies, draw a card. Drownyard Temple, a land that taps for colorless, or for 3 you can return it from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Exotic Orchard, very nice. A land that taps for any color your opponents can produce. Gaia Reach Sanitarium, a legendary land that taps for colorless, and then for 2, each player draws a card, then discards a card. Then we have a whole bunch of swamps, mountains, Akum Refuge, Ash Barrens, ooh, nice, Ash Barrens. Barrenmoor with a new art, cool. Bloodfell Caves, Cinder Barrens, Command Tower, Evolving Wilds, Forgotten Cave, Memorial to Folly, Mortuary Mire, Myriad Landscape, Rakdos Carnarium, Rakdos Guildgate, Rixmadi the Dungeon Palace, Terramorphic Expanse, and a Temple of the False God. And one of these cards where you can check out some formats. So there we have it, the Anya Falconwrath deck in all of its glory. Thank you all for watching. Next time we will open up one of the other commander decks for this year. So see you all then. Bye bye.